The Grand Chessboard. This is a book we have talked about many times. The importance of what is happening in the world, the islands, the strategic importance of the Silk Road, and the modern day Belt and Road Initiative that China is trying to get after, and which we have a little map of it down here, and the importance of most of the world's population lying within this region here, and most of the resources, everything really lying in this area, and how important strategically that is, and why superpowers have been fighting in Afghanistan for decades, and fighting for many of these countries, and fighting in the Middle East because of the resources that are at play, the population, and the ability to control these lanes. So what is going on, guys? Tuesday, May 9th, 2023. Brandon here. Before we get into the trifecta and the stats and what's happening here, I thought this was very, very interesting. So we talk about this a lot, this grand chessboard, and something that it never really ever gets talked about, but the huge in what's coming, though, and why we talk about preparing all times. We don't know. We have no idea what's going to happen. None of us have any clue. Paul Krugman has no idea. Warren Buffett has no idea. Doesn't matter. Greg Foss, Larry Lepard, myself, right? Bitcoiners all the way down to the most fiat of legacy guys that think the internet wouldn't work. Krugman. No one has any idea. But Italy's Maloney to pull trigger on Belt and Road exit in major blow to China. So they were the first G7 nation to come on board with this initiative, and now they looks like they are pulling out. It's not totally confirmed yet, but it looks like they are pulling out. And knowing what we kind of know about her and what's going on there, it looks like as if that's the case. But we've seen a lot of issues with China and their population. What kind of house of mirrors is being, house of horrors, whatever you want to call it. What is going on in China, and can they sustain this growth? Can they sustain it? Can they sustain anything? And there's a lot of cracks in that foundation. And whether you listen to Peter Zeihan's of the world, which I think he's got smart takes on some things, and I think he's way off base on other things, and you have to take things with a grain of salt, really in every way. That's why we question everything with boldness here. But what does it matter for us? And getting prepared and understanding that we have to understand that costs are going to go up when things are happening, when we have to reshore everything and bring everything back in and start rebuilding everything we're doing here. We've destroyed all of our cities because we've looted them, we've smashed and grabbed them, we've burnt them to the ground, and then we have to reshore everything because the dollar is losing its network power, its network strength, and when people are leaving it, and interest rates are increasingly rising, and battling this deflationary, inflationary world where we're battling the artificialness of the pushing them down and buying up bonds. But when people are no longer there to take from our dole anymore, rates will eventually rise, and the system will have to reconfigure itself naturally. And this is that moment where people have to understand they have to be prepared, because there's not going to be food in the shelves. Most likely, there's going to be credit freezes. There's not going to be gas coming out of the pumps. There's going to be moments where this happens. Now, does this have to happen? No, I don't believe it does have to happen. This is the way we're going, though, and it doesn't have to happen. We can get off the fiat legacy system and slowly move ourselves onto the Bitcoin life rafts, the sound monetary system. And again, people always, at this juncture, shriek, they shrug when they hear the word Bitcoin, thinking it's some, Wall Street bets, moon boys. Bitcoin is a new financial system. It is sound money. It is equity-based commodity money. It's no longer this fiat inflationary system controlled by 1,000 people at the top of the world and in small meetings with 75-year-old white dudes. Those days are done. Bitcoin is the fairest financial system humans have ever discovered, where it doesn't matter what color, race, creed, ethnicity, doesn't matter what age, has no bearing on the system. No one controls it. And this is the system we are entering, and this is the system we've been predicting. This is what's going to happen. We are leaving these old segments, and this old system is trying to find a way to come to grips with what's happening. And this is just part of that. Understanding that the BRICS countries, as much as they're huffing and puffing, saying they're on the dollar standard, and leaving that, they might be, whatever. But they're not going to be able to stand on their own 2 feet, because these countries are unreliable as well. These are very sporadic, very unreliable countries. So they aren't going to be able to hedge and have enough. And do they have enough gold? Gold is the thing they would have to try to back it with. But how much does America have? Maybe we don't have as much as we think we have, but how much do the others have? The old saying was, he who has the gold makes the rules. So there's a fight. China and Russia have been buying up a ton of gold, tons of gold, record amounts of gold, and central banks in general over the last 10 years, 10, 12 years, because they realized the game was over in 2008. And we've talked about this a long time as well. The game ended in 2008, and people are just now starting to realize what was happening. So this is starting to fall apart, though, the Belt and Road Initiative, because people are seeing that China doesn't have the legs to outrun this speeding train. And not only that, but you have to understand geopolitical tensions. You have to understand geopolitical tendencies. China has the historical history of shooting itself in the foot, burning the treasure fleet 500 years ago. They had the biggest navy in the world. I believe it was the biggest navy in the world. If someone correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure they did. And their merchant class, our entrepreneur class, was going all over and doing very well for itself. And the Chinese government didn't like that, so they burned their treasure fleet. They burned it all down because the government was getting scared of the entrepreneurs. I mean, this is a recurring theme with the Chinese and them shooting themselves in the foot. This happened with just recently with them trying to ban Bitcoin mining and banning Bitcoin exchanges, and then lo and behold, 2 years later, we have 20% of the hash rate, Samson Mouse said, is still in China. So talk about the resilience and anti-fragility and the robustness of Bitcoin cannot be taken out of the most authoritarian regime in the world, or one of the top couple in the world, and they can't even get out freedom money. People want the money. They want the mining. And now maybe it's the government understanding it and mining it themselves. Who knows? Maybe they're in bed with Bhutan. Bhutan, as we just found out recently, has been mining Bitcoin for the last 4 years. Because it's game theory. People understand this is good for them, and Bitcoin is the game changer. It's the avenue to freedom. It's the avenue to complete freedom and complete control of your sovereignty and wealth, instead of another nation or another person, another entity telling you what you can or can't do with your money, which is your time and energy. So if someone's telling you what you can do with your money, which is what we have now in a fiat inflationary system, when you're taxed, you're inflated away, your currency and costs are rising, that's you not getting a vote in your money, in your time and energy. Your time and energy being spent into trading for something of hopefully the same value, but it's not. You're trading your time, your finite time, for infinite, hear that change, your finite time for infinite liabilities, infinite blades of grass or grains of sand, infinite dollars that can be printed into oblivion. You're trading your precious time. Never can be given more. You're trading it for infinite liabilities. And this is a game that's starting to crumble around all of us, not just America. It's not just Canada. It's not just UK. It's not just Australia. It's China. It's the BRICS nations. It's collapsing all around us. So let's get into the really quickly, just to see what's going on. And we can go into more of that as we go forward, but just very interesting note to see what's going on there. The 10-year Treasury is at 3.5 still. There's not much movement. Let's just say that. There's not much movement necessarily in all this. But there are headlines. There's great banking upheaval going on right now. Credit crisis. I believe, I'm trying to think of, I just saw, maybe it's on Zero Hedge, but credit tightening big time. There's stuff we're trying to do with our own loans and refinancing stuff. I mean, if any of you have been following our portfolio allocation letter, which will be coming out with our monthly one this week, that has been a struggle. It's been 6-9 months of just trying to refinance one house, and it just constant moving goalposts, constantly changing. Credit is tightening, and it's clown world. So we'll probably end up just selling it. And while its market's still kind of at the top, especially in certain areas, real estate's very local. And so we might as well just sell it and take a small capital gains hit. I just don't even want to be in the market. I'm going to trade it for, digital pristine real estate, Bitcoin, and just sit on the sidelines and wait for everyone to plow themselves under. And then we'll come in and scoop stuff up in the next few years when things are pennies on the dollar. And or things have stayed the same price or gone up a little bit, even in fiat terms, but Bitcoin has gone up 10x or 20x. Then you come in and that's a crash. It's called an invisible crash. Things have crashed against Bitcoin, which they will, and they have, as we show you all the time here as well. If you want to see the median price home, here it is. Here's the median price home the last 10, 12 years, priced in Bitcoin. You need to find less Bitcoin to buy the same home. If you want to see the fiat price, you need to find more fiat dollars, more infinite dollars, because they print more of them. You need to find more and more of those dollars just to collect all of them together to buy the very same home. So you can see it's very simple, very, very simple. If we start to really understand the basics of what's going on, the dollar relative strength is sub 102 still, so it hasn't moved much from yesterday. Oil is still just under $73 a barrel. And that's the big three. We need to see the big three. Those are what the equities, the whole market is derived from, is those three. Crude oil, to kind of see where the economy is going, what people think of the economy. This was bumped up a little bit in the last few days. People having a little bit of a bump of confidence. And then the 10-year yield and the DXY, the dollar relative strength. We need to see what's going on with those three. And then the global liquidity indicators are silver and gold, which are still elevated, all-time high levels in gold. Silver, it's half its all-time high, but it's still $26 an ounce. In Bitcoin, sub 28, almost 28,000, showing us it's doubled just in the last 6-7 months, showing us there's liquidity being pumped in the market. How do we know that? Well, right here we have the United States 10-year Treasury going down over the last 6 months. So we have bonds being bought up, so price going up, yield coming down over the last 6, 7, 8, 9 months. That's why we have this trajectory of these liquidity assets bumping up, like Bitcoin, like gold and silver. So it's not a super hard. So again, here's the last 6, 7 months going up, 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 and up. It's a very, very simple concept, and you start seeing what's happening over and over again, and you start seeing how these things work in tandem together. So let me know your thoughts, your comments, what you see going on. We're in for an incredible time. I couldn't be more happy. I'll tell you this. I welcome crisis opportunity and being a wartime general and being a winter soldier instead of a sunshine patriot. It's easy. When times are easy, people are doing stupid things and get away with stupid stuff. Honestly, it ticks me off. I'm not going to lie. It really ticks me off. But when times are tough, I get to see who's made of steel. I get to see who's made of what and who I want to surround myself with. That's what I love about down times. And I know that, hey, I might not make it through, but I'm preparing myself the best that I know how to get ready for what's coming so I can thrive on the backside of this. So I appreciate you coming to my TED Talk. Question everything with boldness, even the existence of God himself. This is not financial advice. It's freedom advice, period. Please share this out because the algorithm hates truth. And I look forward to seeing you on the next one.